Welcome back to my channel. Today we have book recommendation episode. I know a lot of you are readers, you love reading books. So here I am with 7 non-fiction book recommendations from my list. I'm going to tell you the book name, the author's name, what is the book about and why you should read it. I'm also going to tell you who might like this book and who might not like this book. Alright, before we get started, if you are a reader, give me a high five on that. I won't talk much about the benefits of reading and all of that, but if you are not a reader, if you don't read usually, I just have to say this. Reading will not only teach you things, but it really changes you as a person. Researchers have shown that reading literally changes your brain. It improves your focus, it improves your empathy, your cognitive function, concentration, the ability to connect with different ideas, and a lot more. So, if you don't have a habit of reading, start today. Okay, without talking much, I'll directly get into the book recommendations. The first book I want to recommend is Stolen Focus by Johan Hari. Today, we have lost our focus. We have been distracted more than ever before. I think you all agree with me on this. Because of the overstimulation to the brain, because of the social media, because of all the notifications, distractions everywhere, today we have an attention span lesser than a goldfish. Social media is using our attention to make money and destroying our focus. The problem is not only that, but we have also lost the ability to think deeply. We are always focused on the things going on around us. We don't have time and the ability to sit in silence and think. The author feels this and he goes on a vacation without any smartphone, without the internet, with only a basic phone. So he doesn't have access to any internet. His laptop is only the old version which cannot connect to Wi Fi. No emails. So he goes to an island and he stays there for a couple of months. I don't remember exactly how many months. He stays there and he focuses on reading and writing his. Not only that, he starts having a slow life. He starts doing yoga, he starts taking walks on the beach, he reads for hours, and he notices how easy it becomes without the distraction to focus your mind, to think deeply and think creatively. He talks about how building the focus, getting into that flow state where you are doing something and you lose track of time. Getting into that flow state is the solution to all the problems. We are distracted, we cannot focus. The only solution is to get into that flow state more and more often. Who should read this? If you feel like you are very much distracted, you can't focus easily, you have a very less attention span, I highly recommend you to read this book and apply whatever you read from this book in your life. The second book on the list is The Art of Happiness by the Dalai Lama. As the title says, the book is all about happiness. Why do we all want to achieve something? Why do we want that house, that money, that career success? Why do we want that? Our ultimate goal is to become happy, right? We all want to be happy at the end. But no matter how hard we try, most of us struggle to be happy. We are always looking for happiness but not quite getting it. This book is a discussion between His Holiness Dalai Lama and a psychiatrist. They discuss the principles of happiness, how they are similar or different in Eastern philosophy, that is Buddhism, and the Western psychology. This book basically talks about finding happiness. There are a couple of topics they cover, like how building compassion makes you happier, random acts of kindness makes you happier, how the basis of happiness is in building connection with people in the real world, building close connections with the people around us. It also talks about how we create our suffering and we are in control of our happiness. Who should read this? If you are someone who is looking for happiness, you want to understand the depth of happiness. So I have been there for quite some time. There were times when I felt I have everything in my life, but why am I not feeling happy? And there were times in my life where I felt I'm constantly looking for something and I'm never happy in the moment. When I was in MSc, I wanted to do PhD. So I felt, okay, once I get into my PhD, I'll be happy. Once I got into my PhD, I was not happy there. I felt maybe a different environment, different research environment will make me happier. I changed my lab, and there also I was not happy. I felt, okay, maybe research is not for me. I need to do something else to be happier. Then I shifted to life coaching, and even then I was looking for something more. It was not like I was not happy, but I was not content. I was looking for something more. So if you are in this trap, and if you want to come out of this trap, and you want to really understand what is real happiness and how to gain that happiness, then this book is for you. Also, a word of caution, this book is not very easy to read. I mean, the language is simple, a beginner can read it, but the topics are a little in depth, towards spiritual side. If you are very young, or if you don't understand spirituality, if you are not interested in spirituality so much, you might find a little tedious. You might take some more time to finish this book. But I urge you to give this a try, because we all want to be happy and we want to know how to be happy, right? Third book on my list is The Girl with Seven Names, a North Korean defector's story by Lee Hyun Seo. This is a story about a girl who wants to escape from North Korea. Someone who escapes from North Korea, who is trying to go to the other country, is called a defector. So this is the real story of the author. She escaped from North Korea and went to South Korea because the living conditions in North Korea got so bad that she couldn't stay there anymore. When someone has to escape from North Korea to South Korea, they have to pass through China. That is the easiest way, okay? And in China, a person who is escaping from North Korea or a North Korean defector is not welcome. If they are caught in China, they will be sent back to North Korea where they'll be tortured and they might even lose their life. So, this is a story about the author who escaped from North Korea, and on her journey before she reached South Korea, she had to change her name 7 times so that she doesn't get caught in China. This is a story about her sufferings when she was on this journey. Let me warn you, this is a heart-wrenching story. This is a story filled with suffering and sadness. The author says leaving North Korea is not like leaving any other country. It's more like leaving another universe. I will never truly be free of its gravity, no matter how far I journey. This itself shows there is so much grief and sadness filled in a person who is escaping their country. Maybe a normal person can't even imagine how it will be. So you're going to cry, you're going to feel like, why is there so much suffering in this world? You're going to feel very sad, even frustrated. At the same time, you are also going to feel grateful to have a peaceful country, to be living in a peaceful good country. I don't have much words to say about this book. But who should read this book? I would say everyone should read this book. But if you have some kind of trauma of leaving your family, leaving your place because of some reason, if you think this kind of story is going to trigger your trauma, then I would say avoid this. Otherwise, please definitely read this book. Fourth book on the list is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. This book is all about creativity. The author says we are all creative beings, but we hold ourselves back because of fear. We are fearful about our passion. What happens if I follow my passion? What happens if I follow my creativity? We are all scared always. But the author pushes you to go forward even when you have fear, and she talks about how fear and your passion can coexist together. There are very interesting topics like how do you get your ideas, how do you get your inspiration, and how can you catch hold of them, how can you store them. All of these very interesting and inspiring topics are talked about in this book. If you are in any creative profession, so I read this book when I was trying to get into content writing. I was writing my blog posts, I was writing for some business blogs. I was very interested in learning about writing. At that time I read this book, and it not only gave me new ideas, but it also inspired me. So if you are in any creative profession, especially if you are a writer, I would say you definitely should read this book. Fifth book on my list is The Five Love Languages. This is one of my favorite books till today. It is engaging. It doesn't feel like you're reading a non-fiction, but at the same time, it teaches you many things. What are love languages? As we all have different languages to express ourselves, we also have love languages in which we express our love, okay? These love languages are different for different people. There are 5 love languages. Words of affirmation, we express love through words. Acts of service, we express love by doing something for someone. Gifts, we express love by gifting something. Physical touch, we express love by hugging, cuddling through physical touch. And quality time, we express love by spending quality time with someone. So everyone has one or two of these love languages as their major love language. And it matters a lot what is your love language and what is your partner's love language or your parents' love language. In this book, mainly it talks about the couple, the married couple. The author explains how when two people have different love languages, it's like they are speaking different languages. So if this person has words of affirmation, and if this person is if this person's love language is acts of service, they are expressing love in different languages. So one person is not understanding what the other person is saying. It's like I'm speaking Kannada and you are speaking Bihari. You don't know Kannada and I don't know Bihari. So it's like we don't understand each other, right? The same thing happens between a couple. If the two people are speaking different love languages, they both don't feel loved. Their love tank or the emotional tank stays empty most of the time. I read this recently, a year ago or so. So that was my sixth or seventh year relationship with my boyfriend, now husband. After reading this, there were so many aha moments. I understood a lot of things about our relationship. So, whenever there was a miscommunication or misunderstanding, whenever I felt unloved or whenever he felt unloved, I understood why did that happen. Because our languages were different. This is a phenomenal book if you are in a relationship, if you are struggling with your relationship, or even if you're struggling with relationship with your parents. Also, this helps. So this is a phenomenal book. This is a I would say everyone should read it, especially if you're going through any relationship challenges. I would highly recommend this book. The sixth book is Feeling Good, The New Mood Therapy. This is one of my all-time favorite books. This is written by David Burns. The whole book is about CBT, that is cognitive behavioral therapy. This is a type of therapy where you can change your mood. It tells you how can you change your mood by changing the way you think. This is mainly written for people struggling through depression, who always feel like not doing anything, who have that low motivation. But it has helped me with my anxiety as well. And even if you are not going through any mental health challenges, still I highly recommend you read this because you will learn a lot of techniques that will lift up your mood immediately. Who should read this? Like I said, everyone should read this, especially if you are interested in psychology, if you are interested in improving your mental well-being. You should read this. And the book is very simply is written in very simple language. Not only theory, it has many practical exercises that you can start applying right away. So pick this up book soon. The last book on my list is How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. Another phenomenal book that changed my life. I am an all time overthinker. I worry a lot about the future. There are so many what if questions in my head most of the time. When I read this book, it just gave me not one, not two, tens, 20s of strategies to stop worrying and actually start living. This is a kind of book where you can anytime come back to this and go through some of the strategies and apply it then and there, which will help you come out of that worry trap. Who should read this book? Again, everyone should read this book, but especially if you worry too much, if you overthink too much, if you are losing your all happy moments and time in worry, you should definitely read this book. All right, these were my 7 non-fiction book recommendations. Actually, when I was going through my reading list, I saw that there were not many non-fiction books because I love stories. There are a lot of fiction stories I read. If you are someone who loves fiction books like me, let me know in the comments. I will make a video on fiction book recommendations and audiobook recommendations. Recently, I have been trying to read more non-fiction books. Hopefully, by the end of this year, I will read more non-fiction books and I'll try to learn more from them and again make another recommendation video for you. So, till then, in the comments, put down what are your favorite fiction and non-fiction books, and do you read fiction? All of this, let me know in the comments. I will see you next week with another episode.